Good evening and welcome to the High Point IMSA series. The latest round takes us to the Virginia International Raceway, otherwise known as VIR. And we are geared up for qualifying. We're just around about 10 minutes away from the end of it with an hour race to follow. I am Tom Kenton, the commentary position. Alongside me is Hamish Romero, who will share his analysis during the course of the next hour and a half. Hamish, good evening to you. And we're gearing up for another High Point event, this time at this tricky circuit of VIR. You say it's very, very hard. It's very hard to find a rhythm around this track with there being so many chicanes and all of that. How do you interpret this evening? Do you think it's going to be a good one for the drivers? Is it going to be tricky, or is it it's going to be very, very hard for them?
Well, I'm in two minds, Tom. First of all, good evening, and good evening to everyone watching along with us as well. I'm in two minds tonight, Tom, because I'm not a massive fan of VIR myself, personally, and I've always been very critical of this track whenever I get to call a race here. But I'm always caught off guard by the fact that it actually produces some really good racing, and every time I've said I don't like this track, I leave the broadcast thinking, God damn, that was a great race. But I'm also in two minds because it's a very tight circuit. The road's not very wide at all. And with multi-class races, you often need a wide circuit because it helps with the traffic management. I mean, it looks wide down towards turn one, but the rest of the circuit can actually be quite tight. It is surrounded by a paddock, though, undoubtedly. So any off-track will see you very likely end up in the next suburb if you're not careful. It's going to be a tough race, though, I think, Tom. I think this track is very difficult. It's got a lot of switchback sections to it, a lot of stop-start action. Not many. There's a couple of high-speed corners, a couple of low-speed corners, not many medium-speed corners at all around here. It's going to be a tough night for some drivers on the road. Is it going to be tougher for the GTDs as the lowest class of cars is going to be getting passed by the LMP2s and the GTPs? Or is it going to be the harder night for the GTPs trying to traverse the LMP2s and the GTDs across the race? It's going to be tough, but it's going to be a good night of racing, I think. The important thing is, are we still going to see the remaining dominance of the Porsches this season? We're yet to see another manufacturer win in the GTP class this season across the board here for the GTPs. For the GTD cars, well, Daniel Pino has only lost one race this season. Are we going to see him possibly lose another here tonight? He's not taken part in qualifying. If he does start this race, he'll be starting at the back in P12 in the GTD class. For the LMP2s, are we going to see the dominance continue of Dylan Ackley? Well, that's often a question asked. But I've then also got to ask Tom as well, actually, this is another point I need to mention too. There are some GTP drivers who have been struggling this season, and myself and Jim have been quite vocal on it this season, that some drivers may actually need to reflect coming into next season and just think, should I be racing in the GTP car, or should I possibly go and move down to the LMP2 where I may be better suited? Because there are some drivers who may be racing a car that's a little bit outside of their element throughout this season, and they've been really struggling. So, we want to see drivers do well, but, sometimes maybe you just need to step back a class to do better, and that might raise your confidence a little bit more.
It's also bearing in mind that this circuit may be for some and not for others. Tim Keenan and Adrian Puebla clearly have got a grip on the Porsches. They've been dominating proceedings in that respective class this season. The likes of Kenneth Clodin, Carlos Louise, Richard Newman and David Dumont don't seem to have as good of a grip on it as those two have just mentioned. In the GT3, Patrick Rick fastest over Christian Ruiz. The gap, it's quite close actually, just under 2/10 between the pair of them. We've got Jared McKee in the top three, although quite a long way back, over a whole second off the pace in that. And then in LMP2, we've got Dylan Ackley, who has been very, very strong this season in that particular class on a 1-minute 38.457, around about 6/10 ahead of Lakenshaw in P2 and Varian Cyrilik in P3. Very interesting battle going on there as well. Big gaps at the moment, but let's hope they can find a little bit more time in the closing minutes of that. Daniel Pino and Donald Powell have yet to set times in GT3. It looks like they're going to be starting from the back of the field. So there's going to be a lot of action throughout the whole of this. And given it is multi-class, given it is VIR, which I think is bound to cause some form of chaos, especially with this fast-flowing circuit. You get one corner wrong, it could really create a lot of problems for those behind.
As I said, it's, I mean, you look at the track and it is surrounded by greenery. It's surrounded by grass. I don't know if you've ever had the privilege of driving this circuit, Tom. One small mistake, as you said, and you end up off track. You don't just end up off track a little bit. You end up off track a good mile away from the tarmac, especially if it's within, the end of the last sector to the first sector. It is such a tough track to get back up and running again, and it really hurts the confidence if you do make a small mistake like that. What I'll be interested to see tonight is how close some of the battles can be in amongst the classes. So for LMP2, for example, Ackley's been very strong. Stefan Jacoby, who's fresh in tonight, has just set a quality time, gone to P2 138.8. And Lake and Shaw's about 2/10 off that in P3 at this stage. So I'll be interested to see how these drivers sort themselves out and how the traffic sorts itself out tonight as well. It's a tough track to traverse traffic, even in same class racing, where you come up to lap traffic and you've got to try and get past. It's, I don't know. I'm always like, I've always got butterflies in my stomach of unknown a little bit, Tom, whenever we come racing here. Just to confirm as well for Donald Powell, he's actually a race controller and sits aboard the Corvette safety car. So he will not be gridding up this evening, unless the safety car is needed, of course. So Daniel Pino will be the last car on our list. 25 cars in the session at the moment, 12 GTDs, 7 LMP2s, 6 GTPs. It's going to be a fun night of racing, though, I think, for these drivers. But again, I'm yet to see a multi-class race here, Tom. So I've got no idea how it's going to go, to be honest with you. I can only guess what's going to happen. And I could be wrong, because guesses are only 50-50 sometimes, and if you can be correct or not.
Adrian Puebla has gone to pole position in GTP, displacing Tim Keane in the process. Patrick Rick is still fastest in GT3. Dylan Ackley is fastest in LMP2. A margin of over 3/10 on Stefan Jacoby. I have got his surname pronounced that time. I got it wrong last night, so I do apologise to him for that, but I have got it right this time around. Through turn 1, otherwise known as Horseshoe, which is shaped like a horseshoe. I don't know why it's called that. It's just how the Americans call it. It's a hairpin, if you're a British viewer watching it. But here it comes.
An Australian viewer. It's the same here. It's a hairpin, not a horseshoe. I don't know why they would call it that, but fair enough.
Well, there's gone through NASCAR bend and left hook, and then it's just a sequence of hairpins, which is like a snake. I think we can agree it does look like a snake, more like a slalom section. I prefer to call it a slalom rather than the snake. And then you eventually get to South Bend, which is turn 10, and then it's the hairpins of, turns 11 and 12, which is known as Oak Tree. And it's basically where the Oak Tree used to be, I don't know if it is still there, whether it's where it used to be.
They chopped it down, unfortunately. It's not there anymore. It used to be on the inside of the corner, and you'd come up, or come up the crest and then down the hill. As you come up then through the sort of the double right, you just catch this massive piece of shade because of the oak tree. So it's not there anymore, but they've kept it alive by keeping its name, at that corner. Now you could compare it to the gum tree at Winton, and say, well, they've kept the gum tree at Winton. Why couldn't they keep the oak tree at VIR? Well, you're coming into the oak tree corner a lot faster than you're coming into the gum tree at Winton, so it's pretty unsafe to have a tree sitting at a fast-paced section of track, Tom, where drivers could easily go off track and collide into that tree on the side of the road.
And it's not something we want to see either. But we are into the last 30 seconds of qualifying. Will we see any improvements on this? We're looking at Adrian Puebla, who is still the fastest. He did not improve on his last timed effort. Tim Keane on his latest lap has gone to second fastest, 135.0, but he's still a long way off Puebla's time. It's still Rick, Ruiz and McKee in the top 3 in GT3, with Ackley, Jacoby and Nans in the top 3 in LMP2. Looking to just check on the sector times whether we are actually seeing any improvements. I will say, what are you looking at the moment,
Let's have a
Hamish?
look.
What can you tell
So
us?
Ron Keane, for his sectors, actually, let me just bring it up for myself, actually, because that way I can double check what his current sector times are. Doesn't look like any real he's had a green sector in Sector 3, but Puebla has gone fastest in Sector 3 and Sector 5, so he'll actually be looking to improve upon this lap as he comes up to the start-finish line. We'll see if it is a real improvement from him as he runs up towards to end it out. Final lap in qualifying for him. He'll cross the line. It is a 34.6, so it's still faster than Keane, but it's not faster than his previous best. Keane's actually backed out of the lap, so that'll be qualifying done for him. Kenneth Clodden, I believe, already crossed the start-finish line to end out his qualifying, so I believe, Tom, that is all she wrote for qualifying. It looks to be Adrian Puebla, Dylan Ackley, and Patrick Rich, who claimed the GTD qualifying pole in the first 15 minutes of qualifying when they were out there for their portion of the session. It'll be those three drivers starting on pole for all three classes.
Yeah, they're nicely done there from Adrian Puebla, and the Porsches in GTP continuing to dominate proceedings this season. Patrick Rick doing a fine job getting his car on pole ahead of Christian Rees and Joe McKee. There's only one car out on circuit, then that's Kenneth Cullen. So yeah, qualifying has concluded. Cullen stops on the track, and we should be switching over to the race. I don't know if there'll be a warm-up session in between. There shouldn't be.
No,
we should be going straight into the race.
I don't recall them having a warm-up between qualifying and the race start ever since they extended qualifying to have enough time to do separate qualifying between the GTs and the prototypes. So I believe because they extended it to half an hour, they got rid of the warm-up session to allow for the time change. So, but there you can see, I mean, the amount of greenery that surrounds this place is ridiculous. It's basically got a forest surrounding the whole circuit, and you head out into the grass and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Gridding is going to begin, though, Tom, for this rolling start. Of course, they start in pit lane. They'll get dragged around by the pace car for a full lap, and then they'll come around and they'll get their rolling start happening. But for the starting grid tonight, well, it's Puebla on pole.
So it's Adrian Puebla on pole position with Tim Keane alongside, and it's Kevin Clodden and Carlos Rees on the second row. Richard Newman and David Dumont round out the GTPs at the head of the field, with Dylan Ackley ahead of Stefan Jacobi, and it's Daniel Nans in 9th place and Lakin Shaw running out the top 10 overall. Ryan Surelik in P11, and it's Jason Blaine next to him rounding out the 6th row of the field. John Espeder in 13th place ahead of Patrick Rick, who's at the head of those in GT3, and it's Christian Rees and Joey McKee on row 8. Ed Delano and Chris Coy on row 9, and it's John Voigt and Jason Lappin running out the top 20. John Swan and Connor Morse on row 11, followed by Alex Armstrong and Mike Nitti on the 12th row of the field. And the last two competitors are Daniel Pino and Donald Powell.
Well, 25 cars that'll go racing tonight, Tom, the 26 of which our race controller, Donald Powell. I mean, we could be using that safety car for the first time tonight, Tom. We have seen the iRacing pace car be used this season, probably most notably back at Sebring, after the GTDs and the LMP2s made contact on the last corner on the warm-up lap, leading around for the start of the race. And we didn't even get a full green lap in before the caution was actually called. It was called when the GTPs had started their race. So we have seen the iRacing safety car make an appearance before. Could be the first opportunity tonight for the live safety car to be called. But this is a tough track to get safety cars, because if you end up off track and you end up in the wall, well, as I said, you're far away from the tarmac. It's not like you're going to be in an unsafe place where marshals can get to you to push you out of the way or tow you out of the way, where we could reasonably need a safety car. So, it's going to be sector dependent on where incidents happen. That will then determine if we do get a safety car called tonight, but we'll see. Anything can happen, and VR is going to be treacherous for those having to traverse slower traffic. It could have a big part to play.
So we have the GTPs at the head of the field, and we should have the LMP2s behind, headed up by Dylan Ackley. There they are, look. And those Dallara machine vehicles, I do like the look of them, in all honesty. Dallara do a really good job with the design of those.
Yep, they look fantastic.
Yeah, I do like them. Do a very good job. To be honest, they used to design the LMP2s for the 24 hours, well, for the World Endurance Championship. I think it's just Orica now that are involved in it. Although LMP2...
Actually, LMP2's not in WEC anymore, is it? It's only...
No,
GTP.
it's in European Le Mans.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have LMP2 still in IMSA as the GTDs have gotten away as well. But yeah, they only have the Orica now in IMSA. They don't have the Dallara. I wouldn't mind having the Orica in iRacing, Tom. It means we at least have 2 different manufacturers of LMP2 car. Yeah,
it would be nice, wouldn't it? I'm sure there'll be other ones wanting to join. You'll have to let us know which other manufacturers, because there used to be 4 different manufacturers of LMP2 involved.
You know more than me then, because all I knew about LMP2 was Orica and Dallara. I could not remember any of the other ones. I do know that Orica make the LMP3s as well, which is a fantastic car in the iRacing service. One of the most fun you can take out on track is that Orica. It is fantastic. One of my favourite events of the whole year, the Raw Before the 24. You get out there 2 hours and 40 minutes in an Orica LMP3. It is fantastic at Daytona. It's a great, great time.
Patrick Rick will lead the way in the GT3s. They are a little bit further back. The GTPs are coming round at the end of the back straight, and we'll see soon enough the pace car to go in and will be underway. Now, if Donald Palmer's not starting this race or taking part, he'll most likely be in control of the safety car.
He'll be in control of the live safety car, so obviously we can't take control of the iRacing safety car, which is being controlled around by an AI driver technically, but he will run our live safety car if we need it.
Safety car is in, and we are gearing to go for the start of the latest round of the High Point IMSA Series. Can Adrian Puebla get off to a very, very good start in the number 7 machine in that white and pink livery? The lights are coming on now. The lights are on. Lights off. Green flag racing here in Virginia. It's a good start from Puebla, and it's Keane who has to tuck in behind before they get to the horseshoe corner. And Plodin settling in 3rd place with Carlos Rees, Richard Newman and David Dumont just settling into a rhythm. And now we've got a battle for 3rd position there, as we see Kenneth Clodden and Carlos Rees going side by side. But it looks like, unless it's the LMP2s I think we were looking at for a moment, there are the GT3 cars who have just started their race now. And so far, it is Patrick Rick, that is, who leads the way ahead of Christian Ruiz and Ed Delano. I think Jared McKee, who was running in 3rd position on the grid, has fallen down to 7th position. So not a good start for him there. But so far, with the GTPs, Adrian Puebla, as he has done time and time again this season, dominating proceedings. Kenneth Clodden's moving in front of Tim Keane by the time they get to Oak Tree. And that is good enough for him to move into 2nd place. But look at the gap that Puebla has built up already. And we haven't even done a single lap already, Hamish.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there he's got a good 2.6 seconds already over Clodden and Keane in behind. Looks to be a dominant performance once again for Adrian Puebla tonight. He showed his pace previously this season. Had a couple of instances where he has been the driver to beat out on track, and tonight looks to be no different as he runs it round to finish out lap 1. But yeah, as I said, 2.6 seconds already is the gap. Now out to 2.9 nearly over Culloden in P3 or P2 now, as Tim Keane is looking to come back through on him. Keane undefeated since putting that livery on the car last time out at Road America. Of course, he took the win. We're hoping to take another win here tonight at VIR, but he needs to find something here, Tom, if he wants to challenge Puebla, because he's almost 3 seconds behind him at this stage. Stefan Jacobi, has taken the race lead in LMP2 as well. He took the race lead, actually, right on the race start from Dylan Ackley. Caught him napping a little bit. Now Ackley's got some work to do. To give the update on where Daniel Pino is, who started at the back of the field for the GTD cars, he's already up to P9 in class at the moment. Hot on the heels of Jason Lepan in front of him in the Red Bull Mustang. And not too far ahead of them is a battle going on at the moment between the likes of John Voigt, Jared McKee, and Connor Morse, as well as Pino up the inside of the Ford, takes the position from him. He's now only 7 positions away from the lead of this race. And I have to beg the question then, Tom, how long does it take him to catch P1 and Patrick Rich? Because Pino's got some pace, and he looks to have a fun night on the road tonight, traversing through the field.
Well, he's had only 1 lap so far, and he's made up 4 positions on the back. Daniel Pino in the Merc, got by the Mustang of Jason Lepan. And he's going through on Jared McKee through the Snake. Now, I wonder if McKee was out of rhythm through that part of the course, and it was easy picking for Pino to go through, and McKee is also losing a place to the Mustang of Jason Lepan. And McKee falling further down the order before they get to Oaktree for the second time. Back at the head of GTP. Back at the head of Puebla, who is at the head of the field in GTP. He has set a new fast off the race, bearing in mind he's only just done 2 laps. He's already built up a nice cushion over Tim Keane. The gap is 3 seconds. We can have put him back down to 3rd place. And over in LMP2, we see a battle for 3rd position. That is Laken Shaw going through on Ryan Surelik, albeit a little too exuberant into the horseshoe. And it's enough for Surelik to make the switch back and go back into the final podium spot.
It's a really good move there from Surelik. Just let Lakin got a little bit too extended under brakes into turn 1, got the switch back done, and took the position back off of him there. That there is some real cookie cutter racing from Ryan Surelik, Tom. Just a real basic move. I mean, it's basic in terms of how early you can learn it, but it is such a powerful move to use out on somebody. I mean, it's one of the oldest tricks in the book. It still works though every single time. So for Surelik, he's doing a top level job. He's up 2 spots in the P3 in class at this stage. Currently the biggest gainer of the whole race, well, it's Daniel Pino, who's getting positions for free at the moment as Christopher Coy runs it a bit wide in the first sector. He's now up 7 positions in this race. Ahead of him, Connor Morse is up 5 in the Corvette. Now we saw last night in the GT Challenge the Corvettes were struggling on track, including John Swan, who's a bit further back here tonight in the GTD field. These cars really struggled with that mid-engine, just struggling for rear-end grip, struggling to keep it on the straight and narrow. Hopefully it's not a struggle for them tonight here at VIR. And for Connor, he can continue his run forward, but he's looking very strong at the moment, sitting into P4 and chasing down P3 in Ebba Delano.
Yes, but not as confident as Daniel Pino. It's making it look like the AI are in a easy difficulty on a PlayStation game or whatever. He's making it look so easy. He's just flashing his lights at Connor Morse to say that he is coming past. Well, he doesn't have to give the position if he doesn't want to, Connor Morse. He does not have to get out of the way. But there goes Daniel Pino around the outside, entering the roller coaster section on the curb. Morse leaves enough room. He's done very well, actually, Morse, to leave him that amount of room, because I thought they were going to come together. I didn't think he was going to leave that much room, but he did so that time around and keeps hold of 4th position in GT3. So they come around to complete their 3rd lap, and it's not going to be too long before the GTPs catch up with them. Looking at where Puebla is, he's already coming towards roller coaster now in his car. 3-second gap between him and Tim Keane. The Mexican leading the American, both of which are in Porsches as well. Kenneth Clodin in the Ferrari in 3rd place. It's Richard Newman ahead of Carlos Ruiz. Now Ruiz is down to 5th place. It's David Dumont, who is on his own in 6th position, nearly 10 seconds off Ruiz in that particular battle. In LMP2s, that's a spin for
David.
Dumont.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's really got a grip on this machine, in all honesty,
No.
David Dumont.
It's unfortunate because we want to see drivers do well, and this is not a knock on David by any means. But the one thing that I've often said, Tom, is if you're a driver and let's say you've never raced the GTP car before, let's say you've never raced LMP2 as well and you've never raced LMP3, you shouldn't jump straight into the GTP car. you should, the roadmap is there for the officials, for the prototypes. You can head into officials, you can run through even the sports car roadmap of GT4 to GT3, LMP3, LMP2, GTP. You learn something at every stage, you learn something in every car, and it actually then stacks, because the thing you learn, say in the GT4 car, applies to the GT3, but then you've got to learn something else to race the GT3 fast. Once you learn that, you then move up to the MP3, use what you've learn something there, etc., as you move up the ladder. I think for David, honestly, the best thing he can do next season, if he hasn't done so already, is hop in an LMP2 car. It's one of the best cars to drive on the service. It's a lot easier to drive than the GTP car is. You will learn something, you will get faster, you'll get more confidence, and then you can have an attack at the GTP later on. So I think for David, next season, hop in the LMP2, have a good crack at it and see how you end up. Because unfortunately, he is just really struggling this season in this Ferrari, and I don't think it's a manufacturer issue. I just think he's just struggling in the car type. As Tim Keen has gone past Adrian Puebla. Puebla's gone off at the final corner here, Tom. Massive damage on that car out of the race lead.
How on earth has he gone off there? That's a very strange place to have an accident for Adrian Puebla. And he must have caught the grass on the front straight. Unless... Oh, no. He caught one of the
Oh, my
GT3s.
God. Oh, my God. Trying to get past the traffic. The GT3 decided to move over. And all I can say in that moment there, Tom, is for the GT3, hold your line. That's the only thing I can say. Just hold your line. Stay predictable. There's no point moving over to let them past, because they can get past you so much quicker. And I think Keane may have just gotten over the radio, because I have to wonder, as the yellow flag's been thrown, so we're going to get a safety car here, Tom. I have to wonder if Alex Armstrong may have made it a little bit more difficult for Tim Keane as well. I'm not sure, but wow, that's a massive moment in this race.
Yeah, we've got another driver who's been in the pits as well. Daniel Nans has come in. He was running in third place, I think, before he pits in, or maybe a little bit further down. But he's back on circuit now. I want to see from Alex Armstrong's perspective when Puebla was trying to put a lap on him. That's the difficulty on this course, but I'd never expected an incident like that to happen on the front straight. If there's one section of the course I would not expect to see an accident like that, it's either on the front straight or on the back straight. So if we look at where Armstrong is, this may not be the best angle to just see, but I'm just looking. He stays on his line there. No, I think he cuts across. He turns in.
He should have just stayed. Really, from Alex Armstrong. Yeah, should have just stayed left. I mean, what was the? And I think there. I mean, this could be good learning for Alex, right, Tom? The best thing he could do now, get his black box up, turn on the relative, because then at least you know when the traffic is coming after you, when the traffic is catching you, because that has arguably cost. Well, no, not even arguably. That has cost Adrian Puebla this race. It has cost him massively, and there's no one else we can blame other than Alex Armstrong, unfortunately. So, Alex, if you watch this back heading into next week, turn your relative on, keep an eye on the relative, and stay predictable. Just hold your line, because the GTP will come past you. You've just got to stay predictable. That's what you got to do. You can't go moving over like that. If you notice they're coming, just let them go.
Can probably maybe get back on the circuit, because I know he went back into pit lane.
I don't actually think he's willing to. If he has a fast repair, he hasn't used it. I think that's either race done and he hasn't got one, or he's decided, well, that's it. I'm out, because he's at the very back of the field. He's about to go a lap down. I'm trying to see where the safety car is, because they're not actually
using the live. Past him.
Yeah, they're not actually using the live safety car. They're using the iRacing safety car. So we've got to be able to try and see where it might be. But yeah, it's a big moment. It's a big moment in this race. Massive implications, of course, Tom, because it took out our race leader, who looked to dominate the whole way. I mean, the way that was going was Puebla was going to win by, tens of seconds, possibly even upwards of 30, if he had stayed at that pace he was running. It's cost him a race win, and now if you're Tim Keane, well, You've been handed it. It's been handed to you. But then there's also a thought process of, well, if you're Kenneth Clodden, all of a sudden you're P2. There's only one Porsche left on the road. History could be made if you could get past him, and you could give the first race win of the season to the Ferraris only 8 rounds in.
Tim Kim leaves the race then, and it's Kenneth Clodden in second place. And you can just see that the GTPs are trying to build a gap, or at least the LMP2s are just trying to group themselves away from the GTP so that they're not fighting with them when this race does get back underway. And there we see the GT3s, Patrick Rick leading there ahead of Christian Rees, Daniel Pino up to third position. He got by Conor Morse eventually before the safety car was brought out. But yeah, I have to say that incident from Alex Armstrong that took Adrian Prebler out, I mean, he has some explaining to do afterwards. I mean, I don't think he's going to have a leg to stand on with that, because from watching that on board back, the blame has to be on him. I don't want to make decisions on behalf of stewards because it's not my job to do that, but it's blatantly obvious.
Well, it's, we can give our opinion, Tom, and I've always been a big believer that we can give our opinion based on how we see it, and sometimes those opinions can be wrong based on what RC decide, but in this case, I think we've picked it correctly, because honestly, I mean, it's, as someone who has raced a lot of multi-class racing, and we mention it every single week, hold your line, stay predictable, make, the faster cars will get past you really easily, like super easily. It's not hard for them to get past. That there from Alex Armstrong was, honestly, I mean, it's ridiculous. Honestly, it's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that you've got a faster class of car that's catching you, and instead of just making it easy for yourself, hanging to the left, staying out of their way, you're on what is classified as a straight. Why are you moving over on the straight? Why are you aiming for an apex that is not going to give you any benefit as the front two come in of Keane and Clodden? Newman, Ruiz, Dumont stay out. Why are you aiming for the apex of a corner that technically doesn't exist? When you are like, it boggles the mind, Tom. Honestly, it boggles the mind. The only excuse I could find is it is just rookie error from Alex Armstrong there, someone who may not have a lot of experience in multi-class racing. If he does have experience in multi-class racing, that's even worse, honestly. If he has experience in multi-class racing and he's done that, it's just not good enough. And it's a struggle and it's a shame. Well, a lot of the cars have come in, including all of the LMP2s. Some of the GTDs, in fact, have actually stayed out on the road, including Rich, Delano, Coy, Voigt, McKee, and Armstrong. Pino, Ruiz, Nitty, Le Pen, Swan, and Morse have all come through pit lane. Puebla is back on the road. So Adrian Puebla is back into this race. He's back on the road. He is a lap down on the top three, technically, but he will get a wave around here, Tom. So he will get back onto the lead lap. Now, if he comes back, when he gets back on the lead lap, they should allow him to pass the GTDs and the LMP2s, which should then allow him to sit right on the back of the GTP field. So he's not out of this race just yet. It's not over for him. He can keep going, and he will be able to put a challenge in for this race win.
Well, if there's one man that can count himself lucky, is Alex Armstrong, because he's Puebla's back in the race, and we expect him to get back on the lead lap by the time this race does get back underway. About the pit stops then, because we've seen a number of drivers come in all classes. Are they going to have enough fuel to get to the end from now?
No, they'll need one more. They've got limited fuel, so they'll always need one more stop. The drivers who have stayed out in the GT class and the GTPs, they're playing the risky game of hoping they can save enough fuel to make it halfway. But I think the problem is they're playing that risky game, but even if they make it to halfway, I mean, they only get 60% fuel. If they make it to halfway, they may be able to make it home, but these guys who've just pitted, they're now at a better strategy call because they're right on the back of the other cars who haven't pitted, and they're now going to be able to take a shorter pit stop next time around. So it's given the benefit to those who have risked it. It's a safety car. It's a free pit stop. You might as well pit. if you're Newman, Ruiz, Dumont, you've just taken track position, but you don't get the benefits of the cars behind you getting buried in the field. They end up on the back of the GTP class anyway. Should have just come in. Should have just followed him in, sat with them, kept your position, because now you've got Tim Keane, Kenneth Clodden, who's got really good pace tonight, on your heels, who can get past you if they get an opportunity. So I think Newman, Ruiz, Dumont may have just thrown this thing away by not coming into pit lane. And it may be a similar scenario for Rich Solano, Coy, Voigt, McKee and Armstrong as well in that GTD class.
My argument would be is that, it's over 3 minutes per lap under the pace car for the field here. It's going to eat a lot of the time we've got left in the race for when we get underway. I mean, the safety car lights are still flashing on, so we will get another lap under the pace car. There is Adrian Puebla.
I believe we're waiting for him to catch the back of the GTP field, which he should do by the end of this next lap. So I would expect the lights to actually go out on that car now. If it doesn't, then we're going to be here for another lap with every car sat behind each other ready to go again. They've not gone out, Tom, so I would say the lights are only going to go out once Puebla is resituated to the back of the GTP field. So I'd say we're going to go lights out on the safety car next lap, which means we've got 2 more laps of it, which is another 6 minutes. So that takes us to roughly 24 minutes into this race. It's going to be tight on fuel for those cars that did pit. It's probably a nail in the coffin for those that didn't, I would say.
Has Puebla taken on some fuel, do you reckon, whilst he was sat in the pit lane?
He would have. He sat there for 6 minutes. He was saved by the fact that the pace car was called. He sat there for 6 minutes. He would have taken fuel. He would have taken tyres. He's taken his fast repair. So he should be good to go now for the next portion of this race. Now, the question is, though, do those front runners need a splash and dash? Well, they would have been saving here under the safety car. Often, at times, you can save roughly a lap or 2 worth of fuel under a safety car because you're obviously going a lot slower. You then match that with clutching in or lifting early or running a high gear. It's, as I said, Tom, it's going to be tight for Keane and co, but it's not impossible that they can make it to the end now. It is not impossible. They've played the gamble. We'll see if the gamble comes up for them.
Well, by the time the safety car comes in, it will be around about 22 minutes into the race, and if it's 60% fuel, or however long it...
They've put the lights out now, so we're going to go green this next lap. So obviously it just had to wait for Puebla to catch the back of the GTP field, and our race controller has taken the light, or turned the lights off. So we're going to go green the next lap, Tom. So that makes it very interesting in how this fuel strategy can now play out.
And if we get another safety car before this race is over, that could make things even more interesting with the strategy.
Yep. I think if we do get another one, it'll only help those that pit under this first safety car. That might be the lifeline they need, Tom, is the safety car to appear again. Because if we're going to go, let's say we go 5 laps under safety car. How many did we do actually? Was it? It was about 4 laps under the safety car. Then, that's 4 more laps they can save fuel. They might be okay. We'll see, though. Only time will tell, and we'll see across the next period of this race. But, had a pretty good green period at the start. As I said, the only reason we were ever going to get a safety car was because of a little bit of driver error. And that wasn't a little bit of driver error. That was a big bit of driver error on the behalf of the GTD car. But let's see how they go now across the next 40-odd minutes of racing.
Richard Newman and the head of field over Carlos Ruiz and David Dumont. They did not pit the top 3 in GTP, but they will need to come in before this race is over. They may need to bank on another safety car later on. But the safety car is about to head into the pit lane now, coming out of the last proper corner of the circuit of Hogpen. And then we just wait for the pace car to peel in, and we are back underway at Virginia International Raceway. And we are good to go. Richard Newman patiently waiting for the green flag. And he is on his way ahead of Carlos Ruiz on the restart. And we're good to go racing again. So through the horseshoe they come. There goes Carlos Ruiz on the inside of Neiman, and he's going to take over leadership. Watch out for Adrian Puebla, who's coming through. He's ahead already of Kenneth Clodden and David Dumont. And is he going to make mincemeat of Tim Keane? He is, on the inside. And off goes Carlos Ruiz. That's from the lead. Oh, he's collided. I think the pair of them have come together. Neiman and Ruiz. Yeah.
That was a really messy restart there, Tom. I was going to mention there was a bit of contact as Tim Keane goes off the road as well. Tim Keane off the road, possibly cold tyres in effect. It was a really messy restart from the GTPs. Just to make mention as well, Lakin Shaw now leads the LMP2 field as Stefan Jacobi goes off the road. A couple of GTD cars are getting situated as well further back. It is... Oh my God, David Dumont's just rolled.
That's a big accident. That'll be a safety car.
It will for sure. That car is completely fried. And I think Ruiz is off the road as well. This is an absolute mess.
Yeah, he can't turn properly, Carlos Ruiz. That is a heavily damaged vehicle. He took even an alternative route on the grass.
He took the short circuit, Tom. He had to go up he had to cut out the middle sector. That was huge.
He went for a little bit of lawn mowing. I think that was what he was thinking about more.
I didn't know Ferrari made lawn mowers, but apparently they do.
Well, to be fair, if they did, they'd be the best in the world and everyone would be buying them.
That's true. Although you wouldn't be allowed to buy them because you would have had to have bought four before. You would have had to have bought 4 Ferraris prior to buying that one, just so you're allowed to purchase it. So let's look at this restart here. It all starts with Richard Newman running it a bit wide off the restart point here. So he gets it going again. They then run down towards turn 1, and we'll notice, actually let's get a better camera angle. Here we go. So he runs it a bit wide, gives Ruiz plenty of room, and then through comes Tim Keane. But as Keane comes past, there's almost a bit of contact made between them. But then as they run up to the next corner, Newman just completely mucks it up, completely just loses the rear end. So I think actually Ruiz did it all on his own. I think Ruiz just got maybe a bit spooked by being the race leader at that point, because as he came through, he's obviously made a mistake and he's ended up off the road. So how has this happened to him?
He's locked the rear brakes into...
Yep, he has.
He just missed it. He missed his braking point completely. Cold brakes, cold tyres.
Yeah.
And he's just a passenger at that point.
And then it got even worse for Tim Keane up ahead. So as he came through the sort of switchback section at the end of Sector 1, you can see the little bit of damage there from the net code with Newman. He caught the curb. Very lucky, only just tagged the wall. But then it got even more deadly up the road for them, because as Dumont came up across the hill, I believe he's caught the jump, possibly, which has unsettled the car. Oh no, maybe not. How has he ended up then rolling off the road? I mean, that... Oh my God, he's had a steering failure. Oh my God. That there... That's huge. Absolutely huge. And then, not just that, there was also this moment here for Jason Lepan, who ran round at the back of the GTD field. I mean, it's a messy restart. The pace car has not been called here, Tom. I personally think it should have. That was definitely a safety car worthy moment. As Edward Delano goes off the road now at the final corner as well. You can see him off in the weeds. It's just, is it cold tyres maybe?
Yeah, it will be, because they were going at such slow speed. It's a lot slower than when you go on the motorway. They're not able to generate tyre temperature or brake temperature. The speeds they're going in under the pace car are too slow. That's why they've ended up with the temperature of the brakes and the tyres as they had done on that restart. And I'm absolutely amazed that the safety car hadn't been called on the back of that, because that was far worse than Adrian Puebla's accident when he collided with Alex Armstrong.
Yeah, exactly. It was much worse. I mean, I think it should have been called. Honestly, the pace car probably should have been called there. If it was a real life race, that probably would have actually been red flagged because of what happened to David Dumont. Now, Adrian Puebla actually is having some blinking issues at the front of the field, Tom. So I don't know if his worries are over just yet in this race. Even though he's back at the front of the field ahead of Tim Keane, I don't know if he's out of the water just yet. But Newman and Culloden look to battle away now for P3 in class. Both Dumont and Ruiz are at the back of the field, obviously, because of those incidents that they had off the restart. Culloden's just made a massive mistake at turn 1, ran it wide, and now Newman looks to chase down Tim Keane ahead of him. There is a battle happening as well amongst the GTDs of Christopher Coy, Connor Morse, John Voigt as well. These guys separated by around about a second and a half, as Christian Ruiz has gone round in that Lambo, and that is big damage on the back of that Faf-esque Lamborghini down there in the switchback section. It's just going off, Tom. It is going off at the moment, and going off as well is Alex Armstrong down at the roller coaster.
Yeah, Christian Ruiz had only just been in the pits as well, and that is his race effectively done. I'm absolutely amazed that the safety car's not been called on the back of what we're seeing. We've seen so many incidents since the restart, and yet the pace car hasn't been called unless Donald Powell is having some form of dinner somewhere. Not that I'm speculating, but that was just a joke at the end of the day. But so far, Adrian Puebla dominating proceedings again, mass relief for him, and I think, personally myself, without being biased, I'm glad that he's had this chance to get back into it after some careless driving from Alex Armstrong that put Puebla temporarily out of the race, and the safety car basically saving Puebla's afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely saved Puebla's race, getting that caution. You know, should they have called the caution for David Dumont and Carlos? Absolutely. In fact, as I said, if it was real life, it would have been red flagged. They would have had to come back to pits, get restarted, and they got racing again. We haven't had that called, of course, so we now just push on. Talking about pushing on, Daniel Pino up 12 positions at the moment in this race. Overall, mind you, up 10 in his own class in the P2, and about 7/10 off the back of Patrick Rich at the front of that field in what I can only say is a gorgeous Porsche GT3 car. That thing is looking spectacular on the road tonight here at VIR. We're just about at the halfway point of this race here, Tom. 29 and a half minutes just about done and dusted in this race. One caution has been called thus far. Adrian Puebla, who led the race off the start point, ended up in pit lane a lap down, got a caution, got a lap back, leads the race once again. So it's looking like a good night on the road for him. It almost looked like we had a sense of hope there, Tom, even though I am a Porsche fan. A semblance of hope that we were actually going to get a non-Porsche winner tonight. It seemed like the cards were falling for them, but they're back into a leading position now and back in a dominant position, even though Newman has got Culloden on his heels as well for P3. These guys look to battle away. Ackley leads for LMP2 by about 2 seconds over Ryan Cirulik, and Patrick Rich has got Daniel Pino hunting him down and breathing down the back of his neck, putting massive pressure on him for the race leader GTD.
Looks like Dumont is parked up in the garage now for good because he's had another off on the racetrack. But this is the closest battle we've got on circuit between Patrick Rick and Daniel Pino. Pino looking to the outside, entering Oak Tree. Rick placing his car in all the right places as they come out of Oak Tree onto the back straight. They just need to be wary of that number 14 GTP of Carlos Ruiz, who will be coming through. So Daniel Pino, and yeah, he's just flashing his lights just to make sure he's coming through. So that's exactly the correct thing that they've done, is stay on their line and allow the GTP to go, and they can crack on with their own race from here on in.
Yeah, I mean, do we think maybe as well, Tom, because it can often be an issue for some drivers as well, as Morse just gets past Christopher Coy. Do we think it could be maybe an issue too, that is Alex Armstrong maybe running a single monitor and he can't see his mirrors possibly? Although in saying that, if he can't see his mirrors, well, then that means he can't see his rear view mirror, which would tell him that there's a car coming. So I kind of just answer my own question there of, well, why didn't he not see the car coming behind him? Well, he probably just didn't open his eyes.
Riding on board with Connor Morse in third position, getting by Christopher Coy, fourth position. Connor Morse is running the only, or one of two Corvettes in the field. The other Corvette driven by John Swan. Donald Powell's safety car is also a Corvette, although he's not competing. But Christian Ruiz out of the race now, unfortunately. as is David Dumont. We've got Tim Keane now in the pit lane for the first time in this race, and he's going to try and go to the end.
I have to wonder if Tim knew that he couldn't save enough fuel, and he's committed to the pit stop now, so he can push on, maybe get out of some traffic, and just try and solidify P2 in this race.
I mean, it's a sensible decision for Tim Keane, and now he's going to have to try and push Adrian Puebla into a mistake with the fuel, because I can imagine he's going to try and go to the end, but even if he can't, he's still going to have a big enough cushion over everyone else. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went like clockwork and then came in for a pit stop and rejoined with around about 5 seconds to spare.
Well, quite possibly. I mean, Keane's taken a 9-second stop, nearly 10-second stop. Hasn't taken tyres, has only taken fuel to get to the end. Says to me that Culloden's probably going to be in the same boat, as Lake and Shaw makes a mistake in the LMP2 class, allows Stefan Jacobi pass and the crowd strike entry of Daniel Nans as well. So he's just dropped it off the podium there after battling his way so strongly forward to the front of this little battle pack that's happening amongst the LMP2s. Battle for the GTD lead now as well, as Daniel Pino has caught Patrick Rich and is trying to get this job done through the first sector. Oh, it could be an enticing battle just yet, Tom.
Yeah, well, Rick is not making it easy for Pino, and why should he? I mean, Pino may be the fastest driver in the field, but it's about passing cars, that's the thing, and he's able to time the move to perfection before they get to Snake Corner. Can Rick hold it out on the inside through the curbs there, which is not ideal for him? And Pino has managed to fight his way through into the lead now, ahead of Rick, and I think Rick is going to have to yield this time around and keep up with the new leader. Off goes Newman, and that allows Culloden into second place in GTP. I don't know how he's managed to do that. We'll find out. Is that Alex Armstrong again?
Yeah, but it wasn't Alex Armstrong that caused it that time. That there was just a mistake by Newman. So Alex was actually doing the right thing. He held his line, held it out wide as well. Let Newman have the inside, but I think Newman just made a mistake in the end, so it's fine. It's nothing untoward for Alex off that one. But Newman now has some wounds to lick and a bit of work to do, because not only has he just given up time to Kenneth Culloden, who's gotten past him, he's also given up time to Tim Keane, who's already pitted. And look to come past him again. He's just trying to find a way past Alex Armstrong up into Oak Tree. Manages to get that job done around the outside, although he has just run it wide on exits. That's not the way you want to do it, but he has gotten by.
Yeah, well, Culloden's in second place, and Newman's going to have to really fight to get that place back. Tim Keane will be closing in all the time on his new set of rubber. It's Adrian Puebla who still continues to lead the way in his Porsche. And Dylan Ackley leading ahead of Ryan Sulik, and that's a spin for the 617 in GT3. That'll be Chris Coy, who has gone round. Now, is he going to be coming up? Oh, he looks like he's going to get a tap.
Oh my God, he's been drilled.
Yeah, that will. Is that Mike Nitty that he's collided with there?
It is. That there. I mean, how has this happened between them? I mean, he's wanting to come into pit lane, so has Nitty just been caught out here? Oh, no, okay, so he slowed up, coming through. He wants to come into pit lane, and Nitty's just drilled him.
Nitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on Nitty, is that one.
It is. He's just driven straight through him. So there may be a penalty coming the way of Mike Nitty Jr. Just to confirm as well, I meant to mention it before, Alex Armstrong did actually get a penalty for the incident with Adrian Puebla. He got a end-of-line penalty after not pitting as well. So he did not get the benefits of pitting and ending up at the back of the field. He had to go back there because of the incident. So he's got some work to do here if he hopes to continue fighting his way through the field. As the race leader has just caught up to the leader of the GTD class, and Daniel Pino.
Well, Daniel Pino should not make it difficult for Puebla to get through, and in fact he holds his line and allows the Porsche to go through. Puebla gets on with his race. Daniel Pino gets on with his. He's got over a second in hand over Patrick Rick, and now we're looking LMP2. This is Ackley and Sulik on the back straight. Sulik into the slipstream before they get to roller coaster. And you can just see that's Tim Keane behind. Now they need to be wary that Tim Keane is going to be coming through.
I think Tim's smart enough. He's not going to try and force the issue right now. He'll be happy to sit there for a moment. He'll wait until the straight to try and get it done in towards turn 1. But it could end very hairy if he doesn't pick his moment correctly.
Well, these two need to watch it here because Tim Keen does not want to end up in the same situation as what Adrian probably did. Wisely flashes his headlights to warn those two that he's coming through, and that is smart driving from Tim Keen. Although I thought Joe Acker was going to run into him. I thought he was going to run into him there, and that could have been serious as far as the race is concerned. And we are seeing pit stops as well. Alex Armstrong's just come in to serve his penalty now, I think, or his pit stop.
No, he served it under the pace car. He got given an end of line and he went to the end of the train under the safety car. So he actually restarted the race at the back of the field. He's just coming in to do his pit stop. He's done that pit stop now. And he'll to crack on with this race. Exiting pit lane in P8 in class. Plenty of time back there, but Delano shouldn't drop that position at this point. As there is Delano, although he has got his car warmed up at this point of the race here. So he may be able to get past that. Oh, well, Alex has just made a mistake coming through the first corner. So, well, I spoke too soon. He's dropped out of P8 and Delano's come past him.
I just wish that black marker on Alex Armstrong's graphic would go away so that it doesn't
well, he's now got a black flag for, I think, hitting the incident limit because he has 16 off tracks and he made contact earlier, which could have given him another 1x, so he could very well be on 17 and we'll need to do a drive-through now. So that could be the issue there for Alex Armstrong.
Just 2 retirements in this race. Christian Rees and David Dumont going no further. No such problems now for Adrian Probably, who's got a lead of 27 seconds. He's aiming to try and go to the end, but even if he doesn't, he can come in and come out with a good amount of time to spur. Just seen more drivers making mistakes there. There was a GT3 ahead of Newman, who's just putting a alert there. That's the number 1 that's just been overtaken, although it says number 1. I don't think that actually is his car number on the graphic.
That's the mobile
that will be Colin Morse. He's got the 89. There was a number 1 on it, but the fact is it's a mobile 1.
Yeah.
The actual car number is 89.
Yeah.
On the timing page that I've got in front of me. So that is Colin Morse running in 3rd place in the Corvette on the back straight. And behind him is the number 29 of John Voigt. Now the gap between those two is round about just under 5 seconds. Now, I should normally be good with car manufacturers, but I'm a little bit perplexed by the logo of the manufacturer that John Voigt is running in.
It's an Acura logo. I know it's a Honda,
Acura.
Tom. You know it's a Honda. The US thinks it's an Acura. It's their American market brand is what it is. It's unlike Lexus, which is obviously Toyota's more highbrow brand or performance brand, obviously for Toyota. Acura is not the performance brand of Honda. It is literally just Honda, but for the US market. That is what Acura is.
That explains why there's that little frame thing on the outside that makes it almost like a Honda, and then it's just sort of like made it into a triangle as opposed to the normal H logo of Honda.
Yep, I think it should have been put in as a Honda, but in IMSA it is classified as an Acura NSX, so that's how it's been classified in iRacing.
Ryan Stewart coming in. He was running in 2nd place behind Dylan Ackley before heading into pit lane. I think even if he did pit in under the safety car, he wouldn't have had enough fuel to get to the end.
All the LMP2s did pit under safety cars, so that says to me all of them are going to need another pit stop. Blaine's already come in for a 2nd stop. Now Cerulic has as well. Let's say Ackley, Jacoby, Shaw, Nans, Esparta. They're all going to need another pit stop too, as Adrian Puebla is in out of the race lead.
Yeah, and he's got over half a minute in hand over Richard Newman. Let's see how quickly this pit stop takes, because I can't imagine he'll be in the box for very, very long.
Should be about 9 seconds here, Tom. Shouldn't take tyres. He won't need them. He would have taken them when he fixed the car, because he might as well if he sat there for 6 minutes. It should only be a 9-second stop, similar to Tim Keen. Actually, he's gone longer than that. He's gone 11 seconds. Has he forgotten to untick tyres, possibly? No, he hasn't. He's taken 13 seconds. So, taking a bit longer. Maybe taking some fuel on board. He could have taken tyres, actually. I think they do them at the same time in the prototypes, don't they, Tom? Or is it separate now? I can't remember.
I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head.
I can't even remember. I call that
Kenneth
many different
Cullen
car types that I'm unsure which cars take tyres at the same time as fuel and which cars don't sometimes. The only ones I know do is the supercar and the Porsche. They're the only ones that I know take at the same time.
Well, the pit stoppers allowed Kenneth Cullen to take over at the head of the field, but I'm sure that he's going to be pitting in for one last time before this race is over. He came in during the safety car period, but I can't imagine he's going to have the fuel to go to the end of the race. He will need to come in for a splash and dash.
I do know one thing, Tom. Richard Newman has definitely taken tyres because he's taken a 26-second stop. So I would say to me that Puebla did not take tyres. Newman has. So that there is a massive mistake from Richard Newman, as he's just run off track on that cold rubber. He forgot to untick them. Should not have needed to have taken tyres in this race, Tom, because GTPs can last 50 minutes in an official. You're only having to run 10 minutes longer in this race. You might as well keep the base tyres on there. So for Newman, there's a bit of a mistake from him. That's probably cost him an opportunity now to podium if Culloden remembers to untick his tyres when he comes through pit lane.
I think Kenneth Cullen had an off track somewhere and has lost time. I wonder if his tyres are starting to fade away by this point. I don't know if he actually took new tyres during the pit stop. He did. He had a 19-second pit stop, so I'd imagine he'd have taken tyres under the safety car. But I hear his tyres fading away by this point. He's had a very poor lap. Adrian Puebla has gained at least 4 seconds on him, even with the pit stop or the new tyres that he had put on the car, if he had put any on. I think we're going to see why Culloden had gone off the circuit. This is over at Roller Coaster. Oh, he's gone off a long way. Long way off the racetrack.
The Ferrari lawnmower is back, apparently, Tom. We saw Carlos run it earlier. In fact, Carlos is back on the road now, by the way. We saw Carlos drive it earlier. Culloden driving it as well, crossing the grass up there as he just gets past the lap traffic. Jacoby and Nance are in pit lanes. Let's see where Cerulic ends up comparatively to them. Jacoby is just exiting the pit lane now. He has exited his pit box, but Cerulic should get past him on the exit. He does indeed. There is Jacoby, who comes out of pit lane. And now looks to chase down Ryan Cerulic for what should be P2 in the LMP2 class by the time the pit stops are done and dusted.
Alex Armstrong's eventful race has come to an end, and we don't know where he's managed to have his own, or his latest shenanigans this time, but what we do know is that he's no longer circulating around the racetrack, and we're going to see why. This is over around the sort of snake section of the course. Has he done a similar thing to what David Dumont did earlier? Well, he's gone well off the circuit this time around. Now, he had many off tracks, hence why he had that black flag next to his name. He spun around again. I think he just called it quits. Yeah.
I think so. I think that was all she wrote for Alex Armstrong. I think they're looking at how he was just driving when he ended up off track there, Tom. I think what that was a case of maybe being overly cautious, because we saw he wanted to rejoin the circuit, but he was very hesitant to rejoin with that LMP2 coming. He gave them a lot of room. Almost feels like, and then if we look back to his incident earlier with Puebla, it's like he was trying to be really cautious to get out of his way, but that then led to him making the mistake and actually hitting the GTP car. So I think maybe he just needs to find a little bit more confidence and just understand that you're going to be okay if you just hold your line. Even if you end up off track, you've just got to take your time and not push too hard, and you should come out okay. Ryan Cerulic, though, has taken the race lead of LMP2. Stefan Jacoby now P2 on the road. Ackley has had a massive blunder in pit lane. 22 seconds, Tom, was his stop. Jacoby and Cerulic have managed to jump him through the pit stop. 14 minutes to go, or 13 minutes to go roughly. Could he have taken tyres? And if he has, will the fresh rubber help him out here in chasing down and getting past Jacoby and Cerulic, as Culloden has gone off the road again down at the the roller coaster section here, Tom. It is running away from him at this moment to try and get P2 from Tim Keen. He's now dropped 4 seconds back.
Yeah, well, his tyres are totally shot for Kenneth Clodden, and Tim Keen's on better tyres at this point, and the number of times Clodden's been off circuit over the last few laps is quite shocking, in all honesty. And, well, he's just got to hope that he can make it to the end, or even bank on a safety car for one lap and then stick some new tyres on and go like clockwork. I mean, if he came in now, he would rejoin ahead of Richard Newman in third place still, and he'll be on fresher tyres going to the end, where we see Richard Newman, who is on his fresher rubber. We can have a look at the times actually to see if he's improving. Now, his best lap of the race has been a 1:37.1. He goes over the line now, and it's a 1:38.0. So he's gained over 4 seconds on Kenneth Clodden on that last lap, and he's going to try and see if he can get a podium out of it. I mean, there's 12 minutes to go, and there's still a lot of laps still left in this, so he might get close enough. If he was to pass Kenneth Clodden, he would need, I think it's like about 9 laps, no more, so he's probably going to need to gain more than 4 seconds a lap on Clodden if he's going to snatch the final podium position away. Off goes Tim Keen. That's over at roller coaster, and Kenneth Clodden will close back in again on him.
So the important part is, as well as Clodden needs another pit stop in this race, Tom. He pitted on lap 7. He's trying to run as long as possible, trying to save the fuel to make it to the end of this race. I think he's going to have to give in eventually to coming into pit lane. But the longer that he stays out there, the more time he's giving up to Richard Newman, who is on those fresh tyres and able to chase him down. If he were to come in, well, it probably should have been this lap, Tom, and he probably should take tyres on the stop, just based on how poor this car is gripping up at the moment. And it is really, it's costing him at this stage. Now, he's obviously hungry. He wants to try and get past Tim Keen, but his battle's not with Tim Keen, although Richard Newman's just gone off at the roller coaster as well. So it appears that everyone wants to go off there tonight, Tom. I don't know if there's any cars that haven't gone off at the roller coaster at this stage.
Well, Adrian Prebler hasn't been off there, but he has been off the circuit on the front straight. Not that it was his fault by any means. But Tim Keen is under massive pressure now from Kenneth Clodden, who is on far worse tyres than what he is on. And the battle for second place is on again, even though it shouldn't be as intensifying as of a battle as what we are seeing at the present moment. In LMP2, Cyrillic still leads ahead of Jacoby and Ackley. It's run about a couple of seconds between each of the three from each other. And there is Ackley coming up behind one of the GT3s. Well, Daniel Pino, well, look at the lead he's got now. Over 52 seconds in hand on...
and he could take a pit stop if he wanted to as well. And he'd probably still reap the benefits of that because Rich has come in on lap 21. So I think the game that we've determined at this stage here, Tom, is everyone's going to need another pit stop if they haven't pitted already. Or, well, sorry, not to say that. They haven't done their second pit stop already. So Culloden, Pino, Nitty, and John Lepan should all need another stop to get home in this race. Carlos Ruiz has just been off the road in his Ferrari, and it's big damage on board that car. He had lost the rear wing. It's somehow rejoined the car. I don't know how the hell he's pulled that off. Oh my God, let me select it, please. This is how it happened, though, to him down at the roller coaster section, it seems. So it's another car that has gone off down at the roller coaster. Oh, sorry, that was him already off the tracks. Let's get this sorted. There we go.
We're going to see how Carlos Ruiz went off so far from the racetrack.
Oh my God, massive snap oversteer.
Well, it looks like he just locked the rear brakes as he applied the brake pedal.
He must have nanobot technology in that car, because that rear wing was off and immediately it went back on again. So somehow he lucked out, but that car is crabbing heavily. Massive rear suspension damage, and that car's back in pit lane.
Well, at least he's got back safely, Carlos Ruiz, and I don't know whether he will rejoin the race, but if he does, he'll be a long way back, but he's got hold of fifth position nevertheless. Well, Cloddin still hasn't come in for new tyres yet. He feels that
He's in
second place
now.
is still... Well, he's in now. Yeah, there's no way he was going to go to the end. Considering there was 8 minutes left and probably about... how many laps would we have had? Probably about 5 more laps of this, and he wasn't going to have the fuel to get to the end.
No.
There should be a short stop then for Cloddin, and he might even get out before Newman even gets to the end of this back straight.
If he takes tyres, then it's going to be close, but it's whether he wants to risk running around on that old rubber, which has been giving him so many issues thus far. He's not taken tyres, he's only taken fuel, so now it's game on for Richard Newman to chase him down and to get past him on this fresh set of tyres. Cloddin has just rejoined the circuit. We'll get the better interval between them once it sorts itself out. It's claiming 11 seconds, Tom. And with 5 laps to go, well, Newman's lap times have been showing that he could chase him down because he's been running much better times than Cloddin has. And he sat on those tyres, so it may only be a matter of time.
Well, Newman is 10 seconds off Cloddin, so he's going to have to dig deep if he wants to take that final podium position away from him. But there is one man who will be the most relieved driver over the course of this year. Let's be honest with you, in terms of the luck that has been on his side today. But it was the kind of luck he deserved, because he was running in the lead on merit until he came together with Alex Armstrong on this front straight that he's going through, past one of the LMP2s. And he's on his way to yet another victory, and it's a pleasing sight for Porsche again. And the man from Mexico continuing to dominate proceedings as off goes what looked like, quite see which driver that was that went off the... It's Lakin Shaw there, yeah, he's gone off the circuit. Don't know whether he was a little distracted of being overtaken by Puebla. Either way, he's back on circuit and no harm done. Now, there we see right on board with Daniel Pino, leader of GT3. Coming in for his last stop now, a minute in hand over Patrick Rick.
Should rejoin in the race lead, I would say here, Tom. I mean, what world is there that he ends up behind Patrick Rich? He has the earliest pit box in the whole pit lane. He can pull straight in, takes his fuel, doesn't take tyres. He is going to have about 30 seconds in hand by the time he exits this pit lane.
The man who stood at the back of the field in the GT3 class is about to complete another memorable day. And we are riding on board with Patrick Rick in second position. He's got 21 seconds in hand over Jason Lapant, who's done well to get back into third position. Mike Nissie's behind John Voigt in his Mercedes. Conor Morse, who was running in the podium positions in that class earlier on, is now in sixth position. I don't know where Conor Morse's race has gone, in all honesty, but he has lost ground. He's chasing Mike Nissie, who's only 3 seconds up from him, but he is running out of time to make the move work. He's only got 5 minutes to catch those lot if he wants to get back into the podium places. But Adrian Puebla is on, well, he's now on that third, and just looking at how long we've got the race. I think there might be 3 laps left in this, possibly 4, depending on how quick Puebla gets round the circuit. He's got 20 seconds in hand over Tim Keane in second place, with Kenneth Cloddin only 7 seconds ahead now of Richard Newman. And Lapant's in the pits again for the third time.
He needed a third stop. His second stop was on lap 8, so he was always going to need to come in again. So he needed that little dash of, or that little splash of fuel. It's worked out for him, and now he rejoined the circuit. It's good to see, though, that the gamble for some drivers has actually paid off tonight, Tom. Like Patrick Rich gambling, not coming in under the pace car. He's still in P2, technically, in GTD class, so that's still paid out for him. Has given up the race win to Daniel Pino, but, I mean, Pino's got ridiculous pace. He's called El Drago for a reason. He is just a weapon on board this Mercedes, and he's a very, very difficult driver to beat. Only beaten previously in this series by to Sean Green, his good friend Bootsy, back at Laguna Seca, when he gave him back the win after they made contact, and only beaten previously by Nathan Biggett in the GT Challenge on board his Ford Mustang, who arguably is just as dominant as Daniel Pino. So the only way you can really beat him is find someone as good, if not better than him. And finding someone better than him is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's almost impossible.
Pino, well, the Chilean, on his way to a win in the GT3 class. Adrian Puebla, looking at where he is around the circuit, he's just going through turn number 2, the NASCAR bend. I would say, oh, that's an off there for John Swan in his Corvette. And we're going to see how he's managed to do that. Now, we have seen a few drivers go off there during the course of tonight's race. Has he locked the rear brakes? That's my guess. Yes.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly what he's done.
Brakes.
Unfortunately, Tom, this is the issue with the current BOP for the Corvette. It just seems like such a tough car now to set up. You know, when it first released, it was already a tough car to set up, but you could set up around the issues with it. Where now, it just seems impossible to make that car fast again. Although I say that, Connor Morse has made it look very quick all night. He's up 6 spots and he's a P5, so maybe I'm just wrong. But in my opinion, it just seems like it's gone downhill compared to where it was a year ago.
Looking at the field, I mean, Carlos Ruiz has been in the pits for some time now. It looks like his race is pretty much done. No retirements from the LMP2 class, which is good to see. Now we're looking at Adrian Probler, who's coming round over the line. Two laps to go. Yeah.
So there should be 2 more laps. Battle, though, for the race lead at the moment in LMP2 class. Stefan Jacobi, the Brazilian, on the back of Ryan Cerulik as they battle away. Could be an all-time win for Stefan if he can get this job done. Be modern day Ayrton Senna for the High Point Racing Series. If he can take out his first win here in LMP2. I don't recall seeing him at all this season, Tom, in the LMP2 class. We saw him yesterday in the GT4s. He had really good pace. And he's shown that he's got pace in this LMP2 car as well as he battles for the race lead with another fellow GT4 class driver, Ryan Cerulik. So these guys are used to battling each other. And it looks to be on for young and old.
These two will be sticking to each other like glue between now and the end of this. It's a brilliant battle. This is the closest one out of all the classes in the race now. They are approaching the end of their long duel. Ryan Cerulik doing a fine job of getting up to where he is now after a botched pit stop for Dylan Ackley. It won't be too long before Pueblo will be starting his final lap of the race. He's coming up to lap one of the GT3s on his way there. He could even catch up to the top 2 in LMP2, which could mean if Jacobi is going to get past Cerulik for the class win, he needs to pass him on this lap before Pueblo catches up to them.
It was literally 3 seconds to go on the clock there, Tom. I mean, he could not have timed it any better. We're going to go 1 lap longer than prescribed on the time clock tonight, but we probably lost maybe 3 laps with that safety car period, Tom, because that lasted about 5 laps or so, and based on the time it took us to complete it, that probably lost us 3 good laps at this race. So probably should have gone to maybe 36, but it's only going to be 33 tonight.
Yeah. Well, it's opened up a few strategy options for the drivers to try and outsmart some of those. Ed Delano is in the pits, probably for a splash and dash, not having enough fuel to make it to the end himself. That's what the GT3 is getting out of the way of the top 2 in LMP2. I think that might have been, was that Patrick Rick getting out of the way there?
That was
quite
Chris
still. Might have been, was it Chris Coy? Yeah.
There's Puebla running up towards the end of his race. I don't know if he'll actually pass the LMP2 leader. They might actually get an extra lap in here.
Well, if that's the case, then good, because at least we got something to watch on the last lap after Puebla's gone over the line.
Do.
Well, Puebla is going through the roller coaster. Many times this season, he has taken the checker flag first in that beautiful Porsche machine. In the GTP class, he's making it all his own. He runs wide through the last corner on his way. Please be careful, Adrian.
In full graciousness, takes the win. Oh my God.
Adrian Puebla takes the victory here in VIR in the GTP class. And it looks like Daniel Pino's come out on top in the GT3 class by 41 seconds over his nearest challenger. And now we can focus on the battle for the LMP2 win. And it looks like Jacoby has been held up. Oh, he's gone off
he
big
ran
time.
past.
Yeah, he was going past one of the GT3s who refused to get out of the way. And yeah, that's cost him big time there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that cost him an opportunity to race win, arguably there, Tom. So it's a real shame for Stefan Jacoby. But for Ryan Cerulic, it looks to be a fantastic race win for him. Up 6 spots. This one of our drivers of the day, I would say here, Tom. I mean, this here was a spectacular performance from Ryan. You know, Daniel Pino, he did Daniel Pino things, went up 13, won the race in his class. But Ryan Cerulic, I mean, what a drive from this guy. Battled his way through, battled with Ackley, battled with Jacoby, and he survived it all. And now he's going to take himself a race win here at VIR. Again, I said I don't like this track, Tom. Actually had a fairly good race tonight, which it continues to surprise me every time I come here.
Well, he continues to surprise people. And there goes Ryan Cerulic flashing his headlights, knowing he's the victor in the LMP2 class ahead of Stefan Jacoby. And Dylan Ackley will finish on the podium with those two. Donuts all round here in VIR. We're still waiting for a couple of cars to go over the line. Lepan and Coy will be next to head over, and that'll be the race done. So at the end of all of that, it is Adrian Puebla who wins out just in the GTPs. When I say just, I mean after that incident he had with Alex Armstrong. To see him recover onto the pace car, he wins out over Tim Keane by 45 seconds. It's Kenneth Clodden and Richard Newman in third and fourth. Carlos Ruiz didn't make it to the end, neither did David Dumont. In the LMP2s, Ryan Cerulic was the outright winner in that, ahead of Stefan Jacoby, with Dylan Ackley in third place, Daniel Nans in fourth position, Laken Shaw fifth, John Espada and Jason Blaine running out, all of those that finished. So all 7 drivers in LMP2 making it to the end of that. Unsurprisingly, in GT3, it's Daniel Pino coming out on top by 41 seconds, even with the pace car we had in around about 1/3 distance or just before then, ahead of Patrick Rick. John Voigt completes the podium in that, ahead of Colin Morse, who recovered to 4th, Mike Nitty 5th, Jason Lepan in 6th place, and it's Chris Coy, Joe McKee, and John Swan. Ed Delano finished in 10th place in the last of the finishes. Alex Armstrong and Christian Ruiz did not make it to the end of that.
Well, we've just had an absolute cracking race here at VIR, Tom, it must be said. A lot of carnage, a lot of chaos, but also some really memorable moments, including that one right there when Puebla was knocked off track by Alex Armstrong. We get the benefit tonight of actually being able to ask Adrian what he was feeling at that moment, because he did in fact win the whole race. Let me just get some B-roll happening for us here, and then we can get into our post-race interviews. So first on the docket, I think we'll start tonight, Tom, by having a quick chat to our LMP2 winner in Ryan Cerulic.
Yep. So he's with us now. Ryan, well done on the LMP2 win here tonight in VIR. Just summed that up because it was quite a battle actually in terms of the strategy side of things between yourself, Stefan, and Dylan. But just sum up that race for you.
Yeah, good race. Did not have the quali I wanted. With the quali now being 15, I think the strategy is just to do one stint for 7 minutes and then the other for 7, because my last lap in quali felt amazing, and I think the tires were just dead at that point. Start was okay. Started, pretty far back. So I had to make my way through there. And then after the safety car, I actually don't know if you guys got it. It was lap 9 on the replay, if you ever want to take a look at that. My teammate spun in front of me. So I got a right front damage, and I was up to Dylan for a little bit, but after the tires started to give out, because I took tires on the first pit stop, it was just undrivable. So I pit much earlier than everyone else. And then I don't know if Dylan had a bad stop or what, but I was way ahead of him for where we were on track before I pit. So I don't know what happened there. And then my teammate Stefan drove a great race. Unfortunately, what happened at the end? He hunted me down, put on a lot of pressure, and very hard to keep him off. And I'm sorry for what happened to him in the end.
What was the original strategy plan in these LMP2s? Would it be an hour race? Was it a one stop or was it going to be a two?
So with the safety car, it was going to be 2. I think with no safety car, it might have been 1, since they usually go for 45 minutes without needing to pit or, on their first stint. We were not going to have enough fuel to not pit at the end. I think there was no way you could have fuel saved 8 gallons within 30 minutes or, 20 minutes. So I only pit earlier because I needed to for the damage. I knew I would have gained time that way. The only thing I could think of that differed on strategy was taking tires during the safety car period. I know drivers like Lakin, I don't think Daniel did. They didn't take tires, but me, Dylan, and Stefan did. And I think that definitely helped a lot at the end because this was a very tire hungry track.
Looking at the next round of the championship, then we've got Indianapolis, the more famous motor speedway. Presumably, will be using the road course there. How are you feeling for that one?
I I'm feeling good. I don't know if I'll be able to make it because more karting. If I do somehow end up making it, I've driven there before. Me and Stefan actually did the 6 hour together, and we won by a mile. So I know he's good there. I know Dylan's a good driver in general, so it'll be a fun battle if I can make it.
Anyone want to shout out to Ryan before we let you go?
Just teammate Stefan P2 did a wonderful job, 1-2 for the team.
Excellent, nicely done. Well done, Ryan, and well done to Stefan for the 1-2 in LMP2. Very, very good night's work.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. Ryan Surelik winning out in the LMP2 class. Let's have a word with the winner of GT3. That is Daniel. Very, very well done. From back to the win. Was it that easy, or did you have to make very hard work out of that?
It was difficult. At the beginning, you had to know the pace of GT the GT grid. You just can't go and send the car. So I take the car at the beginning. Then when I have P3, the yellow flag just come out. So that was so good for me. I don't know why P1 didn't pit, but I just pit and I have like an extra, like a free stop. So I fight back again, and yeah, in that moment I just sent the car. I got the gap, the pace. So yeah, we're back.
Excellent, and you won out by 41 seconds there, and that's a very, very big gap considering you had that safety car earlier, involving Adrian Puebla and Alex Armstrong. Believe it or not, when Puebla was trying to lap Armstrong on the straight, it was such carnage on that restart because me and Hamish just couldn't believe what was going on. We all thought there was going to be a second safety car, on the first lap of that restart after the first one. How would that have impacted your strategy?
Yeah, my strategy is trying to. When I was P3, I would just want to be P1 and just send the car every lap like a hot lap. And that is I do. I make a big gap. In traffic, I work well. Yeah, I have a problem with the GT4 yesterday. But when you are like when you are the slowest car or GT car, it's more easier to know where the prototypes will go. You just have to leave the space.
I couldn't agree more. From what Hamish and I saw there, it just looked like Armstrong just didn't quite. He wasn't quite aware of Puebla coming through, knowing that he was coming up to lap him and should have stayed on his line. Is there anyone who want to shout out to Daniel before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to Carlos, my team, High Point Racing, David Dumont that he do the delivery for me. What a beautiful livery. So yeah, keep going, man.
And
Excellent.
Daniel, before we let you go, can you also give thanks in Spanish as well for us?
Yeah, as always, gracias gente. El Mercedes sigue dominante. ¿Me dominaron ayer? Sí. ¿Hoy? No. Se gana. Gracias.
Gracias, Daniel. Thank you so much, and best of luck next week.
Yeah, man.
And
Ah.
gracias to Daniel on that performance as well. And it's about to say hola to Adrian Puebla, who takes what the timing pages say was a comfortable win, but from what we saw, it was far from comfortable, Adrian. We saw the incident with you and Alex Armstrong on that front straight. But just tell us from your perspective, because we felt that Alex was responsible for that. And he did get penalised during the safety car for that incident. But that was mass relief that the safety car came out, which helped you.
Especially the safety car pretty much saved me. If not, I would have been a lap down. But thankfully, the safety car did come out. And then, in terms of perspective, he just DM'd me saying that he just misjudged it on his end. And honestly, just from my end, it just looked like he turned into me. But no, telling me that he just misjudged it, it's all good with me, especially because I won. But yeah.
Yeah, we were glad that you came back into it because you were dominating proceedings before that incident happened, and yeah, it was very unfortunate, and it was surprising because it happened on that front straight. If it happened during the S's, then that would have been a lot more conceivable, considering how notorious that section of the course is. In fact, just tell us your experience of VIR, because I have seen a few races now around this course, and I have to say, as a whippersnapper myself, because I've never done iRacing or driven any cars on iRacing. But if there's one course I would not enjoy as much as others, VIR is probably one of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of the GTP guys and some of the LMP2 guys were saying during practice that they absolutely hate VIR, but honestly for me, I just enjoy it because one off and you're basically done. And I don't know if you caught at the very end where I went off. I got very lucky I didn't spin, but yeah, it's really just a risk reward track basically. You push it, you get the lap time, but if you over push it, you go off and potentially end your race. So that's kind of how I see VIR.
Anyone want to shout out to Adrian before we let you go?
Probably Owen for sure, because he did have some good pace, but unfortunately not enough to catch up to the podium. And also, yeah, I think, yeah, that's about it basically. Yeah.
And would you mind give a few words in Spanish?
Sí, estoy feliz con la victoria ahora, pues, ¿cómo digo? Sí, la victoria sí fue muy especial para mí porque lo que pasó en la carrera anterior en Road America, pues fue otra cosa, pues fue, esta victoria es un mensaje para Team especialmente, que dijo algo y no me gustó, pues sí.
Gracias, Adrian, and very well done on this evening, and very well done on the win, and best of luck to next week.
Yep, thank you very much.
So we've spoken to all three class winners, all very happy with their performances. I have to say, I like the fact that Daniel Pino mentioned the person that helped out with the livery of his car. I have to say, it did look gorgeous, but I cannot complain about the Porsche that Adrian Pueblo races in. It looks wonderful as well.
I'm personally a fan of Tim Keen's livery. Has nothing to do with the fact that I made it at all. But I do think it is actually just a really nice looking car. But no, I do. I think Adrian's is spectacular as well. I think Adrian's looks, you look at that car, it is just absolutely gorgeous. Daniel's looks fantastic as well. It is one of the best dressed fields. I think I get the privilege of calling each week, Tom. Every car in this field is dressed to impress, and yeah, I think the the race winners tonight. They were dressed to impress, and they really did impress us. I do have I have a desire at some point, since we do ask our, we try and make it feel like an F1, post-race interview where we get the international drivers to give their native tongue interview as well at the end. But I have got the feeling, or I have the desire to ask one of these American drivers, whether it's Cerulean or Ackley or Keane, to give thanks in Spanish post-race, just to see if they can. Because I feel like they're getting left out a little bit. I was hopeful we'd get Stefan Jacobi winning LMP2, then we could have asked him to give thanks in Portuguese, but unfortunately not this week. It went to Ryan Cerulean. But no, fantastic night on the road once again, Tom. VAR continues to prove me wrong, in my mind at least. I still don't particularly like the track, but the racing that gets brought here is amazing. Whether that's through strategy play, whether it's through chaos and carnage, or whether it's through just really good battling on track, it often provides us with some great moments.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, VIR is a very challenging circuit anyway. It kind of reminds me of Road Atlanta a little bit, or with the fast esses at the beginning of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
But this one's like on another level, just not as much undulation involved. Well, thank you, Hamish, for joining me, and thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Do make sure you like and subscribe to the MotorMouth Broadcasting YouTube channel, and you can keep right up to date with all the action that's been shown on the streams that we provide. And we'll do all of it again next week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I am Tom Cairns with Hamish Munro, and we'll speak to you again soon when the High Point IMSA Series returns.